Dodgers GM says Mookie is going to stay in the infield. What does this mean? We'll get to that. Joe Kelly squares off against Brian Cashman, GM of the Yankees, and the quote of the day coming from the Dodgers GM. This is Dodgers Digest. I'm Brad J, and it's time to get started. All right, first of all, hit the subscribe button. What are you doing? 90% of you are not subscribed, 10% of you are. You're blowing it. I'm just saying. Hit the subscribe button and be part of the fastest growing Dodger channel in the world. All right, here we go. Dodgers GM says Mookie stays in the infield. You know what that means, right? Duh. That means they're going for Soto. You know that means they're going. How are they not going for Soto if they're going to do that? To me, that says it all right there. Dodgers are going for Soto. I really feel it. I mean, not just feel it, but you look at it. The writing's on the wall. People are saying, people are talking. People are freaking talking. Soto's coming. And you know the funny thing is, when I had brought that up, you know how many people had commented and said, we do not need Soto? I feel like it was 80%, maybe 85% against Soto becoming a Dodger. So, does this bum you out? Are you upset with this? Are you not entertained? Dodgers surprising Mookie Betts announcements could open the door to sign Soto. See, I'm not making this up. This is an article. Okay? This is an article. This is what we call an article. That's the headline. All right. What's the plan? All right. Betts will presumably take over second base as the Dodgers pursue a premier shortstop, i.e. Adames. That's what I've said. I've said from the beginning they're going after Adames. I've said this. However, this leaves a hole in right field. Yeah, because you got to have a right fielder if Mookie's going to play infield, right? Could already be losing now. We could be losing Teoscar. I'd like to say I think we're not going to lose Teoscar, but you never know, right? New York Yankee superstar free agent Juan Soto plays right field. Duh. We all know that. And that's the whole thing right there. That is why I feel like Soto's in play now, right? And here it is. John Heyman, man. Hey, man, he had something to say out of New York Post, John Heyman. Dodgers expected to be involved in the sweepstakes, according to New York Post, John Heyman, right? He said this back before Halloween, right? It wasn't April Fool's Day. He was saying this. However, adding Soto would mean they would not be able to upgrade at the shortstop. See, now that's so maybe Adames is not in play, especially if you got Willie. I mean, if you got Mookie coming to the infield, staying in the infield. So is Willie not to play? I don't know. Wouldn't you like to have Teoscar in left, Edman in center, and Soto in right? You'd be okay with that, wouldn't you? So there you go right there. Interesting stuff out of the Dodgers camp. Could the Dodgers be making a play for Juan Soto? And it just seems weird because I have said this so many different times on this show about him becoming a Dodgers. And undoubtedly, it's so negative on Dodger. Dodger fans are like, no, he should not be a Dodger. He'll screw up the chemistry. He's not good in the clubhouse. This is all the stuff that I've been hearing from people on that. So, what do you do? Interesting stuff right there. It's going to heat up. Hey, Joe Kelly. Yes, probably not going to be a Dodger. I'd like to see him stay a Dodger, but I don't think he's going to be a Dodger next year. But Joe Kelly squares off with the Yankee GM, Brian Cashman. Whoa. 1-2. Fights thrown. Who would win out of a fight between those guys? I feel like Joe Kelly would beat up Brian Cashman. Not tonight. I'm saying anything about violence. Okay, so let's get into the story about Joe Kelly squaring off about him. What is that all about? Brian Cashman reacts to Joe Kelly bashing the Yankees after the Dodgers World Series win. And Joe Kelly, one thing Joe Kelly can do is pour salt in a wound better than anybody, right? That's what he does. He pours salt in the wound. I like it. That's one thing I like about Joe Kelly. The fact that he pops off and says things, sometimes it gets him in trouble. All right, so he's been critical of the Yankees' fundamentals after his club defeat the Yankees in the World Series, okay? I love that. That's a great line, the fundamentals. Here's what Yankees were saying. Brian Cashman was asked about Joe Kelly's comments on the Yankees. And here's what Cashman said, man. In Joe's case, it feels like for some reason it's a little personal the way he's out talking like he was. They won, so I can say what I just said. So, all right, so he can pop off. So that's what he's saying. It's like, hey, look, they won, they can pop off. All right. But where the kind of burn comes in is where Kelly, among other things, said the Dodgers, after their infamous Game 5 fifth inning comeback, was sparked by the comedy of errors from the Yankees because New York started, quote unquote, kicking the ball around and playing Yankee baseball. That is freaking awesome. And that's the thing about Joe Kelly that you can always count on him for a little bit of comedy relief right there. All right, so let's talk about Joe Kelly. Here's one thing that we can rule out about Joe Kelly right now. That he will not be a Yankee next year. There is absolutely no freaking way that the Yankees put Joe Kelly on the team after he squares off with Cashman like that. Because remember, Joe Kelly's a free agent. So where is Joe Kelly going to go? Is he going to stay with the Dodgers? He'd have to work out some sort of deal. And I don't think the Dodgers, I think they maybe have had their time with Joe and they're probably going to move on. Look, I like Joe Kelly. Do not get me wrong, right? The whole, that's awesome, right? I like his style. I like that he pours salt in the wound. That is fun for me with Joe Kelly, right? But the thing about that is I think the Dodgers will probably run their course with Joe Kelly at this time. So I doubt that he will be a Dodger next year. And we know for sure after that little deal, he will definitely not be a Yankee. All right, it is time for your Dodgers Digest quote of the day. And let's get into the quote of the day. It comes from the Dodgers GM about Mookie. Because, look, I'm not making this Mookie stuff up about Mookie's going to the infield. That's what Brad feels. No, it's an actual deal, okay? Brandon Gomes, Dodgers GM. The Dodgers are planning on moving Mookie back to the infield in 2025, says the Dodgers GM. All right. To me, right there. Just let that resonate for just a moment, shall we? Mookie back in the infield. Well, what does that mean for right field, Brad J? That's where I go with the Soto deal. That's why I feel the Dodgers are going to be all in on Soto, especially with Mookie doing his thing, going back to the infield. So there you go. That's it. All right, that's going to do it for Dodgers Digest. Hit the subscribe button, blowing up, getting to the 5,000 mark. It seems like only a couple of days ago we were at 1,000. Oh, yeah, I guess it was a couple of days ago. But, yeah, hit the subscribe button. Be part of the fastest-growing Dodger channel in the history of YouTube, and that is Dodgers Digest. I'm Brad J. That's going to do it for me. And always, please, always remember to think blue. See ya.